Senator Dick Durbin just delivered a brutal takedown of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth over the Iran budget. He asked Hegseth to reconcile the numbers. The supplemental request is $87.6 billion. $67 billion is for the Pentagon. But the Pentagon still has $75 billion in unobligated funding from last year's reconciliation package. Hegseth said that money is for rebuilding the military. Durbin asked for a new estimate of the cost of the Iran war. Hegseth said $37.5 billion.
Do you have a new estimate about what the war has cost us so far in this, the fifth month of the first year of this war in Iran?
Senator, the estimate we have as of today is $37.5 billion.
Durbin asked about Ukraine funding. He said $400 billion was appropriated, but the administration says it won't be available until 2029. He asked General Caney if delayed aid will hurt Ukraine. Caney said Ukraine is making progress. Durbin said they can win the war in Ukraine, but instead of funding air defenses, they're putting more money into a war of choice in Iran. He yielded. Let's watch.
I'd like to ask you to help me reconcile some numbers. It's my understanding that this whole supplemental funding request is $87.6 billion, and most of the funding, $67 billion, is for the Department of Defense. Yet we are told the Department of Defense still has $75 billion in unobligated funding from last year's reconciliation package. Is that true?
Roughly correct numbers, yes.
So you left some change on the dresser before you prepared to come for this hearing. What's going to happen to that $75 billion?
Well, that 75 is, there's plans and designs on that, part of the rebuild of our military, which had to be undertaken. And so the One Big Beautiful Bill gave us specific avenues. I'd have to get you the exact numbers of what that is left to be allocated.
Does it have to do with the war in Iran?
No, this is rebuilding our military from what was not funded in the past under the Biden administration. So this is from 2026, One Big Beautiful Bill, which helped move the president's priorities like Golden Dome for America, move away from all the woke priorities of what the Biden administration was pursuing, give us a chance to start cutting these deals on munitions, all the things that the president wanted us to focus on: shipbuilding, hypersonics. I mean, the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. They just decided to pretend like that technology didn't exist and we shouldn't invest in it. There are things. I don't know what Lloyd Austin did for 4 years. I really don't.
Well, I'm sure
the amount of neglect, the amount of stale thinking and bureaucracy, it was staggering when we took over. So One Big Beautiful Bill gave us a chance to get caught back up.
Let me interrupt your speech for a minute, Mr. Secretary. It's my turn to ask questions. I've been listening patiently while you made your presentation. You estimated at one point that the cost of the war in Iran was $29 billion, but then added a caveat that there was a replacement of munitions, for example. Do you have a new estimate about what the war has cost us so far in this, the fifth month of the first year of this war in Iran?
Senator, the estimate we have as of today is $37.5 billion.
And is the current activity, which we've been told about, the exchange of fire back and forth in Iran, an indication that that number is going to go up in the months ahead?
Some of that number captures additional O&M, mill pay, and other that would be anticipated through the fiscal year. So some of that anticipates what costs would be going out in the future as well.
So the new number you've given me is what?
$37.5 billion.
And that represents the cost of the war through what period of time?
Through now for certain aspects of it, but also mill pay, O&M, other anticipated costs through September 30th, Senator.
General Kane, let me ask you a question. I joined a group of senators, some are here, Senator Rounds, Senator Coons, Senator Shaheen, and met with President Zelensky in Turkey during the NATO summit. He was very explicit in terms of what he needed to win. He feels the momentum in Ukraine is moving to his side, and that he is putting a foot forward instead of back. Is that your feeling?
Sir, I think the pressure that Ukraine is putting on Russia is substantive at this point.
Do you acknowledge his request that we help them with air defenses as a high priority?
Sure, I know he's made the request. Whether or not that moves forward is always a debate at our civilian leadership, but I'm aware of that request.
Are you aware of the fact that we appropriated and the President signed into law $400 billion of supplemental funding for Ukraine, including money for air defenses?
I am, sir.
Are you also aware the administration has informed us that that money will not be available in many aspects until the next president is in office?
Sir, I'm not aware of that.
That's a fact.
My understanding was that capital had been allocated, but I'll have to defer to my civilian leadership
No,
on
I'm
that
sorry
matter.
to tell you, the pay plan tells us to be prepared to spend that money in fiscal year 29. The new president, whoever it may be, will make that decision. If you're talking about air defenses and the momentum on the side of Zelensky, what impact will it have if we cannot fund this for 3 years?
Sir, I want to highlight that the incredible work that the Ukraine industrial base is doing as they scale their own capabilities. It ranges from their surface-to-air capabilities to their air-to-air capabilities. I'll note that recently we had the first air-to-air kill where a Ukrainian F-16 shot down a Russian fighter. So I think their ability to scale their layered defense has come along a long way over the past couple years with the help and assistance of many.
General, thank you for your service to the country, and I'm sorry for our losses. I believe 17 servicemen have given their lives in Iran so far, and hundreds have been injured. We should acknowledge that fact. And let me also say, we're at a moment in history where we can win the war in Ukraine. That victory would be critically important for those people who have fought for more than 4 years against the odds and proven they can put Putin back on his heels. But instead of finding the money that they need now for air defenses, we're putting more money into this exchange with Iran, a war of choice which we never should have entered.
Senator Dick Durbin just delivered a masterclass in how to hold the Secretary of Defense accountable for the administration's spending priorities and its failure to support Ukraine. He did not come with a speech. He came with questions. He came with the facts of unspent reconciliation funds. He came with the knowledge that Ukraine funding is being delayed until 2029. And he left no doubt about the answer. The exchange between Durbin and Hegseth was not just a routine hearing. It was a confrontation about the fundamental question of whether the administration is prioritizing the right wars and spending the money it already has. It was about whether the American people can trust their leaders to tell them the truth about the cost of war and the use of their tax dollars. Durbin began by laying out the numbers. He said the supplemental request is $87.6 billion. $67 billion is for the Pentagon. But the Pentagon still has $75 billion in unobligated funding from last year's reconciliation package. He asked, what is going to happen to that money? Hegseth said it is for rebuilding the military. He said the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. He said the amount of neglect was staggering. Durbin interrupted. He said it is his turn to ask questions. He asked for a new estimate of the cost of the Iran war. Hegseth said $37.5 billion. Durbin asked what period that covers. Hegseth said through now and anticipated costs through September 30th. The numbers are striking. The Pentagon has $75 billion in unobligated funding. It is asking for $67 billion more. It is not spending the money it already has. It is sitting on billions while asking for more. The administration claims to be rebuilding the military, but it is not spending the money it has. It is not supporting the manufacturers waiting for contracts. It is not repairing military infrastructure. It is not being transparent about its spending. The administration claims to be fiscally responsible, but it is sitting on billions of dollars while asking for more. It is not using the money it has. It is not planning for the future. It is not being honest with the American people. Hegseth's defense was weak. He said the money is for rebuilding the military. He said the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. He said the amount of neglect was staggering. He did not answer the question. He did not explain why the money is not being spent. He did not explain why the administration is asking for more money while sitting on billions. He did not explain why the administration is not supporting the manufacturers waiting for contracts. He did not explain why the administration is not repairing military infrastructure. He said the Biden administration ignored hypersonics. That is not an answer. That is an evasion. Durbin then turned to Ukraine. He said he met with President Zelensky. He said Zelensky feels the momentum is moving to his side. He asked General Caney if that is his feeling. Caney said the pressure Ukraine is putting on Russia is substantive. Durbin asked if he acknowledges the request for air defenses. Caney said he is aware of the request. Durbin asked if he is aware that $400 billion was appropriated for Ukraine. Caney said he is aware. Durbin asked if he is aware that the money will not be available until 2029. Caney said he was not aware. He deferred to civilian leadership. The delay in Ukraine funding is a scandal. The administration has $400 billion for Ukraine. It is not spending it. It is holding it until 2029. The next president will decide. That is not support. That is abandonment. The Ukrainian people are fighting for their lives. They need air defenses now. They need funding now. The administration is not providing it. It is putting more money into a war of choice in Iran. It is prioritizing Iran over Ukraine. It is prioritizing a war it started over a war it inherited. The American people are being asked to pay for both wars. They are being asked to support a war in Iran that they do not support. They are being asked to support Ukraine, but the money is not being spent. They are being asked to trust the administration. They have no reason to trust it. Caney's testimony was more hopeful. He said Ukraine is putting pressure on Russia. He said they are scaling their own capabilities. He said they recently had the first air-to-air kill by a Ukrainian F-16. He said their layered defense has come a long way. He did not answer the question about the impact of delayed funding. He did not say whether Ukraine can survive without American support. He did not say whether the delay will cost lives. He said, Ukraine is making progress. That is not an answer. That is a deflection. Durbin's closing statement was the most important part of the exchange. He said they can win the war in Ukraine. He said that victory would be critically important. He said the Ukrainian people have fought for more than 4 years against the odds. He said they have proven they can put Putin back on his heels. He said instead of finding the money they need now for air defenses, the administration is putting more money into a war of choice in Iran. He said they never should have entered that war. Durbin's argument is devastating. He did not need to prove that the administration is wasting money. He only needed to show that it is not spending the money it already has. He showed that the Pentagon has $75 billion in unobligated funds. He showed that the administration is asking for more money while failing to spend what it has. He showed that Ukraine funding is being delayed until 2029. He showed that the administration is prioritizing Iran over Ukraine. He showed that the administration is not being honest about its priorities. The American people are being asked to pay for wars they do not support. They are being asked to trust an administration that is not honest. They are being asked to accept a strategy that is not working. The larger issue here is not just about the budget. It is about the credibility of the administration. It is about whether the American people can trust their leaders to tell them the truth about the cost of war. Durbin argued that they cannot. He argued that the administration is not spending the money it has. He argued that the administration is not supporting Ukraine. He argued that the administration is prioritizing a war of choice over a war of necessity. He was right. Senator Durbin asked Secretary Hegseth to reconcile the numbers. The Pentagon has $75 billion in unobligated funds. The Iran war has cost $37.5 billion. Ukraine funding is delayed until 2029. He said they can win in Ukraine, but instead of funding air defenses, they are putting more money into a war of choice in Iran. The American people deserve better.